We welcome in the voice of the Orange, Matt Park. Matt, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but sometimes I need to deal with Paulie. You know that. Yeah, right. You know that all too well, right?
I mostly don't even get around to it. I just let it fester.
All right, so this is our first chance to talk to you since the opener, and a lot to like, right? I mean, some things they obviously need to work on, but what stood out from where you sit?
I thought it was about as good as you could hope for a opening game and with a lot of unknowns and that type of thing. I think the offensive weaponry was as advertised. On defense, you could say the same thing with Fadil Diggs, the biggest free agent acquisition on the defensive side, coming in and wrecking the game that he did the way he did. So that was good. There's obviously areas of improvement. It wasn't going to be a complete light switch, go from penalties being a problem to not, come out and make every tackle in the opening game. They didn't do that. So I think if you're a coach, you're looking at it like this was the best possible scenario. They, slow start, yes, but the game was never really in doubt after that first touchdown. And still some things to coach him up on and work on going into a really important week, too.
So much has been made about the run defense and giving up, 255 net yards on the ground, and Georgia Tech wants to run the football. How much of it do you think was just, Ohio maybe caught him off guard with some things, first game jitters, whatever the case may be, or do you think that run defense may be an issue for this team?
I don't know that it's going to be a permanent issue, but I think you have to deal with it being legit. I don't think it was a fluky thing necessarily, but all those things you're talking about factor in. It was, everybody's had their first game all across the country. It doesn't necessarily mean you were bad tackling, but it might. It's the first time you're moving from practice speed to game speed. I think Syracuse would say they practice at game speed or more. But, maybe they did get caught. We all got caught by Anthony Tyus, the number 2 running back. He ran for as many yards in that game as he had all of last year at Northwestern. So everybody got caught by him. Northwestern had to be thinking, well, what did we miss on this guy? So that wasn't good. I wouldn't I wouldn't take them off the hook on saying, oh, it's just because it was the first game. Or no, I think there's legitimately had some bad angles or people turning down contact and the type of thing that needs to be addressed. Particularly for this week, because Georgia Tech's just a much better version of Ohio and then some.
Let's talk about SU's running game here a little bit, and really the play of the offensive line. The offensive line gave up 1 sack, gave Kyle McCord time to throw. They, maybe didn't run the ball the way that we thought they would. They did run it better late, but they didn't need to, right? I mean, he threw for 354 yards. So I guess it was kind of hard for us to assess the offensive line. How would you assess the offensive line and their performance on Saturday?
Yeah, again, just sort of fine. I mean, nothing really in my mind got terribly exposed. I think you had a pretty good synopsis of it there. Kyle, for the most part, had time to throw. When he has time to throw, he's pretty darn good, and he's got a lot of guys to get the ball to. Rondé Gadsden is going to be a matchup problem for virtually every game he goes into. Trevor Pena, I thought was ready for a big year here after a year where he was out, and he paid off. Zede Haynes, Jackson Meeks made big catches down the field. I think you see what they're capable of and what they have in store, and I don't think that's all of it. I think there's other guys that are going to step up and make their presence known there. I think Syracuse has a chance to have a decent second or third running back have a day. I was surprised that Yasin Willis faltered in short yardage situation there when he was given multiple opportunities. I wouldn't expect that to happen that way the next time. You could put a little bit of that on the line maybe if they didn't get enough push there, but they got, at the end of the day they scored. So, it's one game. Let's see what they build on. Obviously, this one will be a lot more illuminating, I think.
We talked about the line, and Kyle McCord's metrics said, hey, he's a guy that doesn't throw the ball if you put pressure on him very well. What did you feel about them rolling him out in the game, and do you think that's something we're going to see more of during the season?
I don't know that I've got a real opinion on that just yet. Let's see a little bit more, a couple more games and just see a little more of their personality and what they're trying to do. I think if I were the offensive coordinator here, and Jeff Nixon obviously is far more advanced than any of us, I would focus primarily on putting my quarterback in position to be comfortable. If he feels comfortable rolling out, let's do that. If we have to max protect and get him in the pocket and have 1 or 2 man routes, let's do that and put guys in position to win down the field. The whole offense, as far as I'm concerned, is letting Kyle do his thing. And so, is he going to roll out to run? I don't think he's viewed as a run threat by much of anybody. They ran the option once or twice, right? I mean, maybe it's just enough to be honest, to keep the defense honest. But, this is definitely a departure from Eric Dungy and Garrett Schrader. That's not who you're dealing with right now. I think your little half roll, if it helps him see the field better or whatever, all for it. I don't think he was really put in harm's way either.
Really tough loss with Marlo Wax going down. I guess the good news is that it legitimately sounds like he's coming back. They keep saying 6 weeks, and that Fran even said today he will be back this year. So I think that's a silver lining. But in the meantime, they're really going to miss him. How do they fill the void that everything that he does, right? Not just physically, but his leadership, his on the field communication. This is a big loss, isn't it?
It is, because I think Kyle's number one. Then I think if you look at the next position where there's a drop-off to the second guy or losing the first guy makes you play differently, I think middle linebacker might be the spot. Those other guys are capable. They just haven't been tested here at the same kind of level, or you're moving a couple people out of position to accommodate for it. Now the green dot aspect of it changes. So it's not to be dismissed as a significant injury. And, let's see. Hopefully he does come back. He'll work at it for sure. And he knows, especially if the team keeps winning, he knows there's a lot to play for and a lot at stake if he's able to come back and do it. I'm sure nobody wants to do that more than Marlo. But, now James Hurd, Anwar Sparrow, those guys, Derek McDonald's another, they're going to have to fill the void. I think Justin Barron's leadership comes to the fore now. He was kind of 1 and 1A in whatever order with Marlo before as the defensive leader. Justin's a more vocal person. That to me is, the guy that I'd be looking at right now to kind of partly be the solution here. Again, he doesn't play quite the same position, but he's right there alongside. So that to me is the answer. Everybody's got to tackle better, and you just lost your top tackler from last year. So it's not a positive development right now, but it does provide opportunity for some other guys.
All right, let's look at this matchup now. You've seen Georgia Tech play a couple of times. They're very good at what they do. What do you expect to see Saturday? How does this game play out inside the Dome?
Well, I think Georgia Tech is pretty upfront about what they want to do. And, I think everybody's paying a lot of attention to the Brent Key press conference. He didn't he didn't waste any time getting to it. It's like, hey, we're going to be physical. We want to run the ball. And that's what they've done to a good deal of success here so far. They opened everybody's eyes with the win against Florida State. Time will tell here how good Georgia Tech is and how much that game said about them versus Florida State. Haynes King is a stud. There's no question about it. Outstanding quarterback, both running and throwing. Jamal Haynes, a lot of their best players are smaller. Jamal Haynes is 5'9", Malik Rutherford on the outside is 5'9", but those guys can really fly. So I think they've got skill position players that are good, and I think both teams are very in tune with this being a conference game. And in Syracuse's case, it's their first one. For Georgia Tech, it's their first true road game. Obviously, Florida State, I'm sure, had more of the fans in Ireland, but that's an unusual deal. This is a big one. Both teams are they'll have their attention, and I love that it's a noon start. So I think everybody's excited to get to noon and get after it.
And we should mention, a couple of things that fans need to be aware of. The quad walk, I know they did it last week, but they're trying to build momentum with that again. And of course, Dwight Freeney having his jersey retired. There's some extra stuff right going into this game.
Yeah, a lot of extra things really. With Dwight being back, it's great. Dwight loves to be here. He's even in his playing days, he was connected and stayed down at Turning Stone and worked out here with Will Hicks and that type of thing. Loves playing golf around here, and now he plays his golf with Michael Jordan. So that's all pretty cool and something we could be jealous of. So he's very generous with his time. He's one of these guys, and I know Fran's told you guys that there's at least a core of former players that not only are coming to be around and watch practice, they're saying, hey, what can I do to help? And and Dwight is in that category, and they don't give those yellow jackets away for nothing. So it'll be great to see him back and honored in that way. The quad walk went very well by everybody's estimation. A lot of work and effort goes into that. It might surprise people. So that pleases the head coach. It's a big deal for him. And this time it's 9:45 a.m., so it's going to take a little hustle to get people out there. We do have the wing eating contest for Karma Sauce at about 10:10. So if people are up and they got a little peckish around 10 o'clock and they want to crush some bones, come out to the radio pregame there, and we'll get some contestants in our famous wing eating contest, which has been fun for us the last few years.
Yes,
it's always fun.
It is always fun. And tonight, speaking of fun times, you got the Fran Brown Show. Heritage Show.
I was about to make a crack and say it's usually not super fun for the people afterward, but my understanding is the particular variety of Karma Sauce this time is some sort of like Caribbean kind of thing, so it might not be super hot flamethrower. I think the first year wasn't the sauce called Scorpion something.
Yes.
And
the year that I was there with you, they were all in rough shape when that thing was over.
Yeah, so this one I think is hopefully longer on flavor than it is on heat.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Yeah, no, we got the Fran Brown Show out tonight at Heritage Show.
All right. Matt, we always appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on.
It could get confusing in the Dome. Dwight Freeney in the yellow jacket, you do cheer for him. Do not cheer for the other yellow jacket.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem.
All right.
I don't want anybody to be confused.